Hi everyone, we are back again today and I'm going to show you a very simple family favorite which actually hails from the Henghua Clan, which my husband's family belong to. It's a recipe that's handed down from his grandmother, so I'm not quite sure if it's a traditional dish, but this is what they cook from, usually from leftovers that they have from over a festive season when we cook lots of food and they're leftover of meats and things, and then they just do this together with whatever vegetables they have available and into a really hearty soupy noodle soup. It's very simple and easy and very nutritious as well. Right, we're going to start with the ingredients that we will be using today. We first have here a mixture of these two noodles. One is a wheat noodle and the other one is the rice vermicelli. The wheat noodle often is called in Hokkien Mee Sua or minced in Cantonese. And these two noodles are broken down into a mixture into like about 1 inch or say about 3 centimeters length. Break them when they're dry because it's easier, because they are crispy and easier to break when they're dry before you soak them in water. And then we have the shitake mushrooms that's been boiled and softened and also cut into strips. And then we have prawns, green prawn meat, and minced vegetable. We're going to mince that up afterwards just to show you just to how we're going to do it roughly. Chop that up. And then we have grated carrots, we have the tofu, we have cabbage that's been sliced up like you do with coleslaw, and we've got here some green leafy Asian vegetables. You can use bok choy, you can use, this is choy sum, or you can use any other green vegetables. It doesn't really matter. It's just, as I was saying earlier, all leftovers and what you have available in your refrigerator. Then we have the chicken stock as well that will go in as the soup. And that's all we'll be needing. Of course, then we have the basic garlic, and I've got here a mixture of the corn flour with water to thicken the soup later on when we are done. That's all we need. And then of course all the seasoning, which is the fish sauce, the salt and the pepper. First up, we have to prepare the vegetables, and that's chopping the green vegetables as I've just done here. Just roughly chop it up. And then we've got here the meat. These are actually ready minced that I bought from the supermarket, and the green prawns I've just shelled it and it's just roughly chopped. It's not that fine, so it's just, you know, cut into chunky bits, and then I just give it a bit of a chop with the chopper. That's it. Next, we're going to give the noodles a bit of a rinse. And then you put it back into the little bowl and just soak it for a little while, just to soften it a little. And we'll just let it sit there while we start to cook. Right, we start now. Firstly, heating up the wok, and then we pour the oil in. I've got here half a cup of oil. Then what we do is we put about a tablespoon of minced garlic. And you cook that and fry that till it's golden brown. Okay, just starting to turn a bit brown now, and that's when you tip the meat in. You can actually also put the mushrooms in together and do it with this one. Try and break the meat down a bit as you're cooking, because otherwise they tend to stick together and become really lumpy. So you don't want big huge lumps, so just break it down a little bit as usual. Okay, so that's done. And now all you have to do is to put in all the veggies. The carrot. And I've got here shredded cabbage. You can put as much as you want or as little as you want really, but make sure it breaks down a little bit, otherwise it gets too bulky to add other stuff in. So when the cabbage breaks down a little bit, we add the other green vegetables. Here, the green vegetable that goes in now. And then we've got here, that's 2 liters of stock, chicken stock. Now if you don't have time to prepare your own chicken stock, you can just get chicken stock, like, you know, in the packet from the supermarket. Of course it won't be as tasty, but it will do. And all you have to do is to balance the taste, you know, with seasoning and things. So you cook that, and once it gets boiling, you tip the noodles in, and you cook that into a thick noodle soup. Now, what I might do is, whilst that's cooking, waiting for that to boil, I shall strain the water from the noodles. As you can see, it's already boiling, the soup, and this is when you tip the noodles in. Now don't be deceived by the noodles. It doesn't look like there's a lot, but once it's cooked, it swells and it actually bulks up the whole dish a lot. Now as far as the proportions of the ingredients are concerned, don't be too worried about the proportions of how much meat you're going to put or how much vegetables you're going to put. As I've said earlier, this dish originated actually from leftovers, and you just make do with what you have. Chop up all the leftover meats, and if you're cooking from leftovers, and whatever vegetables you have. Okay. Now we put a bit of fish sauce to season it, and then a sprinkle of salt. Lastly is, I've got here a little tub of soft silky tofu, and you just run a knife through it, cut it into little thin strips, and then across again, doing the same thing across that way. Just roughly cut it this way, right, and then put that in, and if you like tofu, you can always add more tofu. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. There's no strict rules with this cook. So it's very simple. Anyone can do it. And now, what I'm going to do is, I'll thicken the soup, and the way we do it is, we mix about here 2 tablespoons of corn flour with about 1 cup of water. Give it a good mix, and then you pour it in and bring it to boil, and then you see the soup is a bit thicker. That's it, all done, ready to be eaten. I've given you a recipe with specific proportions, but if you don't have enough of one and more of the other, it doesn't really make a lot of difference. All you have to do is make do with what you have. A simple, easy dish to cook for the family. I hope you've enjoyed to cook with us tonight. If you like it, please click like and subscribe. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again sometime. Bye.